Well, hey there, it is Sunday, November 17th. Didn't get up here yesterday or at all during the week, as you might be able to tell from the sound of my voice. Been a little bit under the weather. Tina started feeling a little sick last weekend, and then I started getting it on Wednesday. So we ended up having that thing that went around here about 4 years ago or so. It's kind of comes and goes, but so we both had that for this week, and yeah, didn't get up here yesterday. Just kind of had a recoup day, and also we put up our inside Christmas stuff yesterday. Got a little bit of an early jump on it. So Merry Christmas. Hey, we're going to continue on this cowling fit up here, but I do want to show you one thing that we finally got resolved on our one of the fuel hoses. So we don't have this quite cleaned up yet. We're going to be doing actually going to flip this clamp around. We're going to do another cushion clamp back here on this heater hose. But while we were doing that, we were trying to figure out how to get the fuel hose that goes from the fuel flow divider, which is this, and goes down through down through the baffling. There's a baffling down in there, goes down through there, comes out in there, but it has to go to the fuel servo over here, and we kind of had a struggle with how to get this routed. We were trying different ways, and finally Rand's Tony sent us some pictures. So what we're doing is we're bringing it down. This is where it comes out. We're coming across this intake port here, and then across the outside of the oil sump behind the back of it here, and we're avoiding the oil drain, and then over top of the throttle cable, and then into the fuel servo there. And if you don't know, if you're on this point and you don't know, this is adjustable. You have to loosen that nut that's on the servo, and then this fitting can rotate around a little bit. So you rotate it. We just clocked it up just a little bit to make this fit a little better. Tighten that back down. But we'll get this tightened down. I'm trying to figure out, we might have to do something here with this to secure it. Secure it so that it's not wobbling and rubbing up against the oil sump and the engine mount here. So we'll probably secure it onto this engine mount, but we'll see what we can get on that. Any other notes from you? No, nothing? Okay. All right, well, here we go. First order of business is we're going to be putting the bottom cowl in place on the airplane. And then we come back, we put the top cowl on. We've already trimmed this back a little bit on the top, just to kind of help us with the initial fit up. But now what we're going to do is we'll have the bottom cowl on. We're going to put the top cowl on, and then we're going to measure. We're going to determine the center line of this cowl, and then we're going to measure for the fastener hole, which is going to be on center line here. And then, oh yeah, do we cut it first, or we define the center line? Oh, we cut it first. Okay, so first we're gonna get this aligned and we're gonna measure our cut line. So then this is gonna get trimmed, probably about here, not all the way down yet, because this is the side. This will get trimmed with the side cowl, but here-ish. We'll trim this back so that it fits. That's right. Then when we get this fit on, then we locate center line, and we'll drill a number 40 through to the cowl strap, and we'll cleco this on. That fixes the fore and aft position of this cowling top. Well, we're pretty darn close on the fit up of this front part of this cowl. I think to the point where we now need to trim the back because this is sitting a little bit, it's like this is tipped, it's like the whole cowl top is tipped forward a little bit, and I think it is because of that, where it rides on that, yeah, that section back there. So we're going to proceed with trimming the back top of this cowl so we can get it to sit down on there. So it'll bring this whole top back just a little tiny bit, and it should true up that fit right there, or get it closer to how I want it to be. But also leaving this a little bit, leaving the whole cowling just a little tiny bit low. I know we've had the engine sitting on here for 1.5 years, but it hasn't run. So I think once it runs, we've probably got a little bit, maybe a little bit more settling on the engine mounts to go. And I think that might just drop it just a little tiny bit and line everything up eventually. Okay, made a reference line on this boot cowl here. And this is the 3-inch reference line to the joggle. And since it goes up and over and ends up on the windshield hold down strip, it's hard to measure that. So split the difference, went 1.5 inches in, or actually 1.5 inches back from the joggle. We're doing a reference line there. We're going to clamp this down, we're going to tape it down, make sure it's all in place, and then we've got my 1.5 inch, I made a 1.5 inch gauge, and we'll do a mark back to 1.5 inch. That's going to indicate where that joggle is on there. We'll do this all the way across, and then we will actually probably about right from here up, we'll cut it. This doesn't get trimmed quite yet. This is going to get trimmed when we do the rest of the trimming here. So we'll get this part fit up and see what we get. I'm making progress on this, and starting to mark this where we've just got spots where we need to sand it back a little bit. Don't know if you can see, move my hand, you can see where we kind of come in a little bit on this. So we're just going to bring these 2 spots out a little bit, and I just mark these with pencil. Just do a mark on there. I'd kind of draw a little box of the area where it needs to be sanded. So we're going to bring this in a little bit here, and then you can see along here that we got a really good gap in there, and then starting from this point on here all the way over to the edge, we've got to sand that forward just a little tiny bit, but we're getting pretty close on that fit. Got this top cowl fitting up here pretty nice. Still a little variation in some of the fit in spots. But yeah, we're gonna get this finished fit up here, not fit up, but we're gonna get this to the point where we can do the number 40 for the center fastener there. But once we get all that done, we get the cowl fully fitted up, we'll actually probably come back and trim this back a little bit. We need to push it back in place here, but yeah, we'll come back and trim that up. So gonna get this fit on here again. Got the center line marked in here, and then I got to measure 1/2 inch in, and we'll do a number 40 up there. We'll cleco that. And then around the bottom, we do a 40 down around the bottom and cleco that on as well. Slowly working away at it here, and I think we're about to the point where we've got this fitting up all the way around on the top. Got probably about a 1/16 in here of gap, and we've got that all the way around the top. Got our one cleco up there in the middle, and got it. We're clamping it in up on the fronts here, and making sure that everything's lined up as we go before we do any more marking or sanding off of that. But yeah, I think it's this one's got a few little tight spots. There's a tight spot right there that we can adjust this a little later on. You want to push that in. Just want to look at that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, it all looks pretty good. Like I said, we'll adjust this spot right up here. Probably not right now, I think, but because we're inside the joggle, or on the, sitting on the, what do they call it? The cowl strip? Or the cowl strap. The cowl strip. It's sitting on there now. So what's next?
We do the bottom.
The bottom. We're gonna validate our measurement here. Remember we talked about the 3-inch line here. So we've got our 3-inch line. Going to remeasure that on here. Make sure everything is good, or adjust as needed, and then we will trim those off. And something that's been really handy with this trimming on the cowling is this Permagrit tools. What do they call it? Tungsten carbide abrasives. Got this from our avionics guy. He's building a Sonex, that's what he's building. He's building a Sonex, but I was talking to him about how we're trimming and having to sand and grind that cowling, and he said, have I got the tool for you? Brought this over for us, and I was a little bit skeptical. Thought, nah, this isn't going to work that great, I don't think, and boy, this thing works wonderful. This is really nice piece, aluminum. It's got a real rough side on it. You can really take stuff off quick, and then it's got a fine side on it to kind of get it down right to the where you want it. But yeah, nice stuff. Another stunning day today, except we couldn't have the hangar door open because it's too cold. But beautiful day today. Alright, we are done for the day up here, and made some pretty good progress on this cowl. We finally got this, I just talked about this being trimmed. We've got this trimmed up and fit, and we just did the cut on the bottom cowl part, the back part of the cowl. We just did the cut there. And it's really close. It's going to take just a little bit of filing on there to fit that up, just to finish that out. We're not going to get to it tonight. But, okay, so we're down to that. Next thing that happens is we're going to be doing all of the fasteners around the perimeter here on the back. So that's coming up. Once that's done, we trim. I don't know if you can see this, where this hangs on. This is the edge of the upper cowl here where we've cut it off, and it comes down. after the fasteners get done, then this gets trimmed. We mark a joggle line on here, and then that will get trimmed back to, oh, can't see it, I got the strap on top of it. That'll get trimmed back there. We've already got our tape in place to measure that joggle. We're going 2.5 inches, and so that will give us that line. We'll trim it a little fat on there, and then hand file that down to get the final fit on that. Once that's done, fasteners go in here. We've got to do a nut plate. Let's see, nut plates here. There's a nut plate that goes in here. I'm thinking about putting one in here as well, and I'm pretty well, in my mind, I'm committed to doing that. But what else? We're gonna have to do a couple nut plates across the bottom on there for that. Anything else, boss?
Nope.
No, nothing from you. Okay.
Your voice sounds a little better than when we started.
It does?
Yeah.
Well, she says my voice sounds better than when we started. I'm feeling a lot better this afternoon, so hopefully we'll see. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you all have a good evening, and that's it for now.